Hi guys, my name is Nongov Kelvin. I am a documentary filmmaker, video editor, and motion designer. I started out in filmmaking in a very unusual way. I was a student at the University of Ilorin studying human anatomy. And if you know anything about human anatomy, it's basically visuals and illustrations and all of that. I love my gross anatomy classes and I did quite well at them. So I used to study Aklan's video atlas a lot, and that was like my first real encounter with videos, and I loved it. I loved Aklan's so much, and Aklan's helped me have a vivid understanding of anatomy of the human body in a way that my lecturers did not. So that was like my first encounter with videos, and I then picked an interest in visuals and storytelling and videos and illustrations and all of that. I then started Nongov photography as a student in 200 level. I was doing photography as a student, not the typical photography. I was never a beauty photographer. I used to call myself a conceptual art photographer at the time, where I would create these photos that would sort of tell stories. I sort of grew from there, from conceptual art, conceptual storytelling, photography, started making videos, documentaries, and now I have niched down to making documentaries and video editing in the explainer niche. I genuinely want to understand how the world works. I want to understand the dynamics of human interactions. I want to understand how the interplay of stories and everyday living of people. So that is primarily what drives my creativity and drives the projects that I choose to work on. It's one that stands out slightly, which was even an accidental project because I didn't really go out that day to shoot. It was during the NSAS protest. I made it a duty to be present at every protest and make videos of everything that was going on that day. And then this woman saw me with the camera, and then she asked, "Are you a press person?" And I was conflicted for a second. Am I actually with the press? But I'm like, yeah, I'm a press person, I guess. She stood in front of my camera and started passionately narrating all what she had passed through. As she was narrating, people started gathering. Almost like the entire crowd now became my backdrop, which was weird because I was just standing there holding the camera, not knowing what she's saying, and I could see the change in the direction of everybody's face. Everybody was going, and then I called my roommate to please help me with the subtitles. Like, damn, immediately I saw what I was typing, I was like, no way, this is it. And I put the video out. The video went really viral on Twitter. Like almost every blog reposted it. It had millions of views across platforms, and Femco reached out and they had it broadcast at the Lekki toll gate. It kind of sparked up renewed hope for people to continue with the protest. And that was very memorable for me, seeing that I accidentally stumbled on a story, and now the story is affecting and causing real change in society. During the 2020 crypto bull run, I had some issues. I got into a financial mess, and then when I finally came back to my mind and decided that I needed to find a way out of this mess, I had to first start looking for a job that would pay me in dollars because I needed to pay back these people I'm owing. Then I started video editing full time, picked up my computer, signed up on Fiverr, and then started offering video editing in the Johnny Harris / Vox Media niche. For 3 months, I didn't make any sales on Fiverr, and then all of a sudden, I just started getting flooded with orders. But debt took me to look for opportunities outside the country because I needed to earn in dollars. Before Grey, receiving payments internationally was a hassle because while I was on Fiverr would sort it out using their traditional wire check transfers. Fiverr would need 20 days to clear the money, and then when they send the money, to take another 4 business days to get to my Nigerian bank, and then I'll have to go to the bank to queue up and collect the money. But then I started having real troubles when I moved away from Fiverr. Like I said, I was getting more clients requests, and so I had the option to like ditch Fiverr. But now, how do we receive payment? Which was like, it was a major problem. I lost most clients primarily because I didn't have any payment platform. There's this woman, I still feel like if I had worked with her, I probably would have made way more money in my career. She was a very big person at Pinterest, and she had reached out to me, and then she told me outrightly that they don't use any platform other than PayPal. And I was like, I'm in Nigeria, we can't use PayPal. We had to like lose that gig due to PayPal not working here. It's a lot. So I can't even articulate how I was navigating those times. Sometimes I just had kind clients who would go out of their way to ensure that I get the money, but the tech for receiving money from abroad was a big challenge, and it affected the kind of works I got. I just had this very frustrating time with a very kind client of mine. She's like the kindest person I've ever worked with, and she was head of this copywriting agency, and she was going to make payment to me, and she kept trying, and the money kept, after the waiting period, say sometimes 7 days, they'll say 7 days waiting period. After 7 days waiting period, the money gets sent back to her because she was trying to send money from Spain to me, and that wasn't working. And then I started feeling, at the point I was going to let the money go. Like, I didn't even want to collect the money again. Like, I'm tired. I put this woman through so much stress. Like, let her just go home, because she had to go to the bank on different occasions to tell them that she's trying to send money and it's not going through. Then I reached out to a friend asking him that, please, this is the issue I'm having, and this woman is trying to pay me, and she's feeling bad that I've not gotten my money even though I finished her work, and she won't rest till she gets the money to me. And then he suggested, he then told me that he had just been introduced to an app called Grey. I downloaded the app as he said, and I registered, and I was like, Grey, okay, Grey, let's do this. And I sent my banking details to her, and she sent my money. I got my money immediately. I was so happy, and that was it. The money came in instantly. The opportunities that the ease of payment has opened up is to allow me to compete on a global scale. I make videos, I edit videos for a living, and I should be able to receive my money. Some clients are very funny. Sometimes a client has a vision for a project, and then they would send you that brief. They would reach out to you deliberately, knowing that they want you to do this work. They're going to get you to start doing it, so that when they see how it looks, they will then decide if they want it or not. Meanwhile, they've not made any commitment on their part, but you've committed all your time and effort into this. But with Grey, I have my money. If you send the money now, it's going to drop I will get it by end of day, or at most in 24 hours, it's going to be credited to me. And so what that does for me is, I have a policy. You'd send me a 70% down payment before I start anything, and then a 30% upon completion. My 70% down payment gets sent, and I receive it immediately. But in the past, with most other services that I tried out, the 70%, in fact, they can even send you 100% and later request back all their money. They'll collect your work and still collect their money. The most used Grey feature is the currency conversion. It allows me to conveniently save money in a currency that hedges me against inflation, which is a major problem with the Nigerian we're currently experiencing in the Nigerian economy. I'm conflicted with earning in the foreign currency, saving in the foreign currency, and equally conveniently living my day-to-day buys and expenditure without having to borrow. I should be able to have my assets and my earnings in a foreign currency and walk down to the closest mall and buy a can of Maltina and change the money right there on the spot, credit it to a naira to the seller and still not have to, go through any bureaucracy of going to a bank to change money or withdraw and then go down to the nearest bureau de change person to start haggling prices and all that. All my money is in the currency I originally received it in, and I break it up whenever I need it on the go. If I could go back to when I started, I would tell myself to be patient. At the end of the day, this whole thing is a numbers game. I learned something very valuable on Fiverr. During my time on Fiverr, I saw that I started seeing how certain metrics for advertising, metrics for marketing work in real life. Fiverr would tell me I had 1,000 impressions, my clicks were a certain number, and the messages I received were a certain number. And then I started drawing a connecting dot between those metrics, and I saw that for me to even get 10 messages, I had to have probably like 3,000 impressions for me to get 10 messages. And I started thinking back when I first started and how I would work myself up about not getting clients or not getting this and all. And when in fact I was in fact very profitable, I was in fact doing very well, because how much marketing did I even do as a freelance videographer when I started out? Very little to no marketing. And my impressions and my total impressions, the number of people that have ever heard of me in their life, is probably not even up to 300. But out of those 300, I had at least 10 or 30 clients. That's like a 10% conversion rate. And in marketing, if you have 10% conversion, it's I don't know who you are to be hitting 10-20% conversion, but it's a 10%. It's a very impressive one. So as I grew, I started looking at it in terms of that, and I started telling myself more that I have to be patient. So if I was to go back now, I'll tell myself to be more patient. I'll tell myself to look at things statistically rather than emotionally.